There's people who trust in Leadership Live to bring you the best voices and the most impactful people that are going to help you to engage your tribe, your team, get them going. In 2009, something significant happened in the world of business and leadership. That is when a guy gave a TEDx speech called Start with Why. Simon Sinek went on to write a book, and since then, a lot of people have been stopping what they're doing. They have been trying to find their why through vision boards, mountain retreats. They have been going all over the place, over, under, around, and through to try to figure this thing out. And a lot of people have actually stopped creating and they started thinking. And Coach Michael Burt, you've written this book called Screw Your Why. And I want to know, just tell us what this is about. Where was this birth? Because I know a lot of us are slowed down maybe by people who are waiting to figure it out before they do something. What is Screw Your Why about?
Well, the biggest place where there's a graveyard of broken dreams is people sitting and thinking about what they want to do with their life, right? And instead of the doing. So I was speaking at a conference in Dallas, Texas. I was on a panel. This was the craze. Start with why. Find your why was a craze during that period, and everybody was asking, "What's your why?" And everybody on the panel, and someone asked me, I'm having a problem finding my why, and I just said it. I didn't even think about it. I just said, I think what you need to do is screw your why. WHY. I said, I don't think you need to find your why. I think you need to find your skill. And then I think you need to find the problem that you are uniquely encoded to solve. And then I think you need to think about the vehicle that is going to distribute your talents to the world. And when I said that, it just kind of blurted out of me. And then people in the audience came up to me. It's like, thank goodness. Like I felt like such a loser because I haven't found my why. And so I don't think you find your why. I think it actually finds you when you are working a muscle, when you extend out and circle back. I think so this is really where it came. It kind of sat in my brain for a number of years. Then I wrote the book Flip the Switch, which became a Wall Street Journal bestseller. And chapter 2 of that book was Screw Your Why. And I would say it in my talks to test it, and people liked it, and they thought I was supposed to find my why. And I'm like, so I think Simon Sinek and I probably do kind of agree on some things. We do think that people struggle with purpose. We do believe that almost 90% of people live their entire lives and never locate their purpose. I just think we are going about it in two different ways. So the book is a book about purpose in a very simple formula: skill, problem, vehicle. That is really what it is about.
I love it. And listen, for leaders out there, we're not necessarily throwing rocks at Start With Why, but this is like a different side of the pole where I think what I'm hearing you saying, like, is it just the way of going about getting there? Is that what you're saying, Coach Burt?
Yeah, it's a different pathway. It's a different pathway to get from A to B. Okay. And so let's look at the problems with why. And when I launched the book this week, we did a big event at the Greatness Factory. People watched online, and I kind of start with the problems of why. And I go, could I know my why and still not be motivated to get up and go to work today? And the answer is yes. Could I know my purpose and be struggling financially? And the answer is yes. Could I know my why and still have periods of fog where I'm just wandering in the wilderness? And the answer is yes. So the argument is finding your why doesn't solve all of your problems like you think it is, right? Like when he wrote Start With Why, then he had to come back and write Find Your Why because people couldn't start with why because they didn't know their why. So let's think about this in a different way. I actually like find your because goals. And a because goal is a big reason I do something when I don't feel like it. I do this because of this. I prospect every day because that's what the top 1% do. I'm remarkably bold because that's what the top 1% do. So I prefer, and I learned this from Dr. Kevin Elko, who was Nick Saban's psychologist, I prefer because goals versus finding your why. So think of why as a big purpose. I like to think of it in terms of purpose tokens. Like if I helped you today and you come back to me and go, thank you, man, that really helped me. I get a sense of purpose, but it doesn't stay with me forever. It was just a little exchange where I got a little sense of purpose. So I call those purpose tokens in the book. It's not my why, it's a little purpose token that I got.
Well, maybe you can help us to understand tokens then, because I will say with all the AI, I have no concept of what tokens other than with video games. But you talk about purpose. When you say that, what do you mean by purpose? And how would you like, why is that important for a leader to engage with? Or is it important for a leader to engage with their people and with themselves?
I actually think the leader should be helping each person find their skill, not find their purpose. Okay. So if I'm leading people, and I remember, asking Ed Milet this once on a podcast with me. I said, look, how did you build this big downline? I don't know how many insurance agents you had underneath you and have this big exit. And I never forgot what he said. He said, I helped every leader on my team find their unique skills. And then I showed them how to use those skills in that business to improve their financial future. Okay. If I have a birthday gift when I was born and I was given a birthday gift and that gift was encoded or hardwired in me, the gift has to be open. It has to be utilized. At some point, it becomes an ability. If it's used over a period of time, it becomes a skill. And then when I use that skill to solve a problem in the world, it is the perfect match between my skill and the right challenge where I get in a flow state and have a sense of purpose. So I think leaders should be helping their team members find their skills. And then they should be showing them how to use those skills in life and in the business to solve a big problem. And in the process of this, they may go, I think this is my purpose. I think my purpose has found me.
I love it. I would say it's, I've heard the story of George Washington Carver, and he one day had a prayer of saying, God, show me the secrets of the universe. And God said, you can't handle that. I'll show you the secrets of the peanut. And he was able to have like 300 and some odd patents from that and save the South. But it's like sometimes it's the smallest unit maybe of purpose is skill. Like this ethereal thing that everyone's reaching for. You're saying it's actually really concrete and is really close. That's what I'm picking up here.
Yeah, I think it's the usage of a skill. And I think you solve a challenge. And I think whatever that challenge is, that is the exchange. Okay, so I like to use the word exchange. Let's go back and just give a definition to purpose. During COVID, I was doing big virtual events and we couldn't do speaking engagements. So I hired a team and they helped me do virtual events. And we do all this brainstorming, like, what do you think you do and how do you do it? And one day I said, man, in some kind of crazy way, I never set out to do this, but I think I actually help people locate their purpose. And then I'm really skilled at showing people how to monetize their skills, their intellectual property, right? And they said, so I think I hear you say you help people locate their purpose and convert it to profit. And I go, yes. And so we called the virtual purpose to profit. So this calls me to study purpose. What is purpose? The exchange of my skill to solve a problem that I love solving. Because just because you can solve a problem does not, you're supposed to be solving. Okay. So I think it's actually the exchange of my skill to solve the right problem and a problem that is a big table opportunity, a problem that gives me energy, a problem that helps me return my objectives, a problem that helps me return my investments. That is how you find purpose. Okay. Skill, problem, vehicle.
Wow. I want to go into your COVID moment because it's interesting. I was going through Pray Drive again. By the way, that's my favorite book that you've written is Pray Drive. Concise, to the point, and it's an activator. But one of the moments you describe in there is how COVID took you from you thought you were one thing and all of a sudden you were another. Like you had to instantly reconcile these gifts. You had to reuse your talent. It wasn't something that is a one-use thing. How I want to know if you can take me into that moment, and then also how have you helped others to transform the ways they've used their talent? It's not a one-trick thing, is it?
It's good. That's a great question. I call it baking soda in the book. Baking soda can be used to deodorize. It can be used to bake. It can be used to brush your teeth. It's one product that can be used in different ways. And I use that because people can remember it, right? And in the new book, Screw Your Why, there's a chapter where I actually show 40 different ways that I have generated money from one skill. Okay, 40. And there's a whole chapter on Navy SEALs, on how they dove to the Navy. These skills that they have, they didn't have when they went to the Navy. When they leave Navy SEALs, here's all the skills they have that they acquired when they became a Navy SEAL. I go through a chapter on teachers. When teachers say, what else could I do with my life? And I show all the things teachers could do to make money with the skills they learned being a teacher. And so to your question, in COVID, I had a lot of fear. I was losing $250,000 a month in the coaching business. Okay. And everybody was scared. And I thought I was going to lose everything I had. That caused me to use latent and undeveloped talents. And so I began to think of other usages of the same skills I already had, other ways to use intellectual property I had already created. So I went from an in-person event company to doing virtual events. And within about 6 months to a year, we generated about $3 million new dollars from virtual events. And up until that point, I had never done a virtual event. I didn't know how to do a virtual event. And it was the process of doing virtual events that taught me how to embed, how to make an offer correctly, how to structure a 3-day event. So it's like I had skills, but those skills were used and pointed in a new direction. And that was incredibly valuable for me. So it's actually one of the best things that happened to me. Psychologists would call that positive reappraisal. It's where you look back on something in your life and you go, man, thank God that happened, because then I got a new skill. And I wouldn't have had that skill if I didn't have that adversity.
Wow. That's powerful. Listen, a lot of people are going through adversity right now, or they're afraid of the next adversity that's going to happen. I wonder, Coach Burt, you were really good at helping people reposition their talent in ways that optimizes for earning and for income. So I wonder if you could tell me, maybe we could run through a few real quick and just imagine someone here. How could they reposition their skills, their talents? And let's start with, let's just say a teacher, or like someone literally was a teacher.
Yeah, I was a teacher. I was a high school teacher. And the funny thing is I actually taught PE and health. I wasn't like I was teaching advanced calculus. I like to joke and say I was teaching advanced honors physical education. But when you think about it, a teacher, I would go to teachers who were unhappy. And I would say, it seems like you really don't want to do this. And what would you like to do? And they would say, what else would I do? Like, what else could I do? I went to school to be a teacher. And I would go, well, in any given day, you're a psychologist, you're a mediator, you're a conflict resolution specialist, you're a motivator, you're an activator of talent and potential. You're a person who helps people think bigger. I would go through all these skills that they have, that they already have, by the way. And I would say, you could do anything with your life if you just point it. Now, this is a great question, because I'm doing something right now for coaches, Donnie, and there's 110 million elementary, high school, and college coaches in America. These are athletic coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are miserable. They don't want to be there anymore. There's high degrees of burnout. They've got low pay. They work 80 hours a week. They raise other people's kids. This was me. This was me. Okay. But there's something about me that gave me the boldness to leave and go try another arena. Okay. And this is something they're lacking. So they don't know what arena they should be in. They don't know how to transition. They actually don't know the skills they have. But more importantly, they don't know how to package their skills, Donnie.
Okay.
And this is where I'm a specialist, is helping a person find their primary skill that is latent and undeveloped, package that skill and bring that skill to the marketplace in a new arena. And there's a cadence to the way I coach that activates. So I use the psychology of flip the switch. I activate people to say, I can do something bigger. Then I say, let's package you up to go do something bigger. And that's really the process, the unique process that we have at the Greatness Factory, and we call that creating people of interest. We create people of interest.
That's smoking up. I'm curious, by the way, how we went from virtual and now like the Greatness Factory is almost like the opposite. We're gathering people. I want to get there in a second, but Coach Burt, stay with me for a minute on some of these people, repackaging and activating, repackaging. So let's just say someone was a manager. Right? Middle managers are at threat with what's happening with AI and a variety of other layoffs. Someone was a middle manager. How did they fix their skills to be valid today?
Well, if we went back and we actually did an inventory of their skills of what they did every day, right? They may be great at motivation. They may be great at building a team. They may be great at connection. They may be great at one-to-one. What we need to do is we need to look at a behavior that they used every day as that manager. Think of your skill as a behavior, okay? And there's a behavior you use every day, and that behavior got some kind of result. So they may have actually been more like a coach than a manager. Some people are great at building processes, systems, structures. So we need to look at the behavior they used, and then we need to go, okay, that behavior is really a skill. Who would pay the most money for that skill in a new arena, right? If we packaged you up in a new arena, let me give you an example. I was coaching a former Green Beret, and he couldn't figure out what he wanted to do after he left the military. And I finally distilled it down after pressing him enough, like, what skill do you have? And he said, I am a master at staying calm during chaos. And I said, great. Now we have a skill. How do we take that skill and package it? And who would want that skill incorporated?
How'd you do that? I'm curious.
We just went through the process. Find, package, market, monetize. So with AI, this is where you could use AI today. You could say to any AI platform, hey, I think I'm trying to find my primary skill. I feel like I'm really good at this. I have a background being a manager at this company. This is what I do every day. What do you think could be some examples of my primary skill? And it'll spit out this. And I want you to think of the skill as a behavior, so it's an action. Like, I activate people. We create people of interest, right? We package intellectual property. We activate ecosystems, brands, businesses. So I want you to think of it by going to your past. I want you to look at your past and have a very high sensitivity to understanding and doing discovery work on your past. It's like, man, what was I doing when I was 15 years old and I was a high school point guard and I was pouring into the young people? What was I doing? Was I leading? Was I a great leader? Was I great at connection? Was I great at building people up? Like, go to your past, because I'm paying you for your past. Your past helps me build my future. Okay.
I'm hearing.
Now's it.
I hear a lot when you talk, in just as an observer, a lot of I am and I do. I am and I do.
Yep.
And followed by that a lot of times is activator. I'm an activator. Was there ever a conscious choosing of, like, I am an activator of other people's talents, or I am this? Or do you help people to also choose that?
Yes. It's more of a realization or a revelation. A revelation is a sudden dramatic moment. For me, I brought a guy named Rory Vaden to the Greatness Factory. He helped me launch the book, Flip the Switch. He's launched 25 consecutive New York Times bestsellers. And he spoke to my coaching members, right? And he was trying to get us to own a word. Like Brene Brown owns shame, and Cynic owns start with why or find your why, and Cardone 10X, and Milet Max Out, and whatever, right? Todd Duncan, high trust selling. And he was trying to get us to own a word. And I was sitting with Renee Rodriguez, who wrote the book Amplify, and we were having lunch. We were having lunch together right after, and Renee's eating, and he's eating, and he's talking, and he's eating, and he just looks at me and he goes, your word is activation. And I said, what do you mean? He said, man, just the way you package content, the way you say it, the way you use it, you are clearly an activate. You're right. And another person had sent me a letter and said that, you know, the difference between you and most motivational speakers, he said, they motivate, but you activate. And I thought, I'm hearing this over and over and over, this word activate. And I go, I think this is my skill. I think I'm skilled at activating. Then it became, Donnie, like, what can I activate? Brands, businesses, capital, greatness factors, ecosystems, ideas. Like, then it's like, now let's play. Now let's run with this.
Oh, this is interesting. I have a big question about that. But first I do want to mention, for people who are listening, and I want to get back into Screw Your Why as well, but you are packaging it right now. If they go to screwyourwhy.com, there's another book that goes along with it that helps them to really get into that packaged skills. It's the specialist effect. Can you tell us a little bit about what you got going on there and why it's important to you to impact people with this?
We figured out that people really struggle to find their primary skill. There's no real book that helps people do this. There's books out there called Find Your Parachute. There's tests to help you find certain things about you, right? But there's no real book that talks about just a skill. So when we wrote Screw Your Why, my integrator, Jana Creel, who's a former Navy intel analyst, incredibly high IQ, she helps me package these books. And I said to her, I want you to write a book on nothing but finding your skill, okay? And I'll help you, and you can use my content. So actually, when you go to screwyourwhy.com, you get both of those books, okay? Plus, there's other things that come along with it, series, video series, things like that. And because I really think you need to read these books in tandem. One is very tactical, and my book is kind of anecdotal. That's a word. And when you think about it, it's like, I kind of tell stories. That one is very tactical. Think about your skill as a behavior. Think about your skill as a behavior. And it gives you all these exercises to do to just find the freaking skill. Because when I speak, I could ask an audience of 1,000, who in here can identify their primary skill? Most people will say something surface level. I'm great at sales. I'm great at leading. I'm great at this. And I would say, no, go deeper. What makes you great at sales? Man, I am really skilled at intrinsically validating other people. I am really skilled at lowering walls of resistance. I'm really skilled at lowering the crock brain in another person so they're open. Man, I can meet anybody, anywhere, anytime. I'm really skilled, not just at connection. I'm really skilled at connecting to a person's body, mind, heart, and spirit. See, this is the way to think about a skill. Think about it like a specialist, right? Like if you go to doctors and there's heart surgeons, there's a lot of heart surgeons, but there's some in the world that's like, this one is the number one specialist in this particular thing. And this is how you separate yourself, especially if you're in the coaching business, in a highly creative destruction environment in the coaching world, a highly commoditized industry. You need to move towards specialization. So if we looked at Navy SEALs, there's Navy SEALs, but then there's very specialists. Like this one is a specialist at a sniper. This one is a specialist at going in and doing this one thing. This one is a specialist at flying a helicopter. So when you think about it, get you thinking deeper about your primary skill.
Do people here sometimes, do you find them struggling with either, can I really even do this? Or who even wants that? Like the opportunity within that zone. I'm assuming you probably have to help them to see opportunity, to have the permission to do that.
I think 80% of people have, I'm kind of thinking which psychologist, maybe it was Freud, who believed 80% of people had inferiority complex.
Ooh, wow.
20% of people have superiority complex. 80% of people will hear me speak. They'll read my books. They'll come to my workshops, but deep down in their identity, they don't believe they can go do it. 20% of people believe they can do it without the help of another person. So you have to show them and reframe them as a coach that you could do this with me in your corner. You could do this with me, bringing you a structure. You could do this, but all of us struggle with this. I mean, for years, I would say I'll be a good coach, but I'll never be a championship coach because they've never won a championship here. And then I changed identity and I became a championship coach. Then I started writing books and I said, I'll be a good author, but I'll never be like a New York Times or Wall Street Journal bestselling author because I'm a coach. I'm not really a writer. This is what I told myself. Then on book number 8, I'm going all the way with this book. And I hired a coach and then I did it. So a lot of people have to go from what I call emulating to becoming. Instead of me watching other people going, one of these days I'm going to be like that person, like I'm emulating them, to actually going, I am one of those people. I can do this. They're not any better than I am, right? And that's a big jump from emulating to becoming.
Back to screw your why. If there was something we're throwing rocks at, if there is an enemy that we're attacking, what would you say that is? And what would you say is the framework that we're giving to replace that?
Thinking, stalling, living in mental creation, right? If you study quantum leaps with Price Pritchett, who I've worked with, or Ben Harding with the Science of Scaling, who we're in partnership with. I mean, when you study quantum leaps, the greatest teaching is doing. It's not thinking. So when you think about finding your why, a lot of people think that they can think their way into finding their why. It's like, I will go, like I'm in Florida right now, at my house in Florida, and it's beautiful here. And if I just walk around and think about my why, then I may get it. Now, versus what Collins calls extend out and circle back. And what that means is I extend out into an uncomfortable area. I extend out and I try something. And then I circle back and I go, did I enjoy that? Was that encoded in my gifts? Do I really like doing that? See, I stemmed out, I try things, and I go, nope, that's not it. Then I keep working the muscle, and then I go, that is it. That is my skill came alive when I met that challenge.
So thinking, contemplating, those are all fine, but it's like, it's really, we learn, I think I heard you say it once, action cures all fear. Yep. It's the mother of all skill is action, but you say take action and then assess. Is that what you're saying? You put people into the cycle of?
Extend out is take action. Circle back is assess and ask yourself, is this it? Did my skill, think of your skill like a little person. and it's looking for a challenge. It's looking for the perfect challenge. Like I think about winning as a person. I think about luck as a person. I
Mm.
think skill as a person, because luck is looking for somebody who's fevered up. Luck is looking for somebody who's doing, not thinking, like a little person.
Like
So think of,
personify it. That's
yeah, think of it like a little person, and that little person is looking for the right challenge, and he or she comes alive when they find the right challenge. And I go, okay, this was it. Here's an example. I coached my son's 5-year-old baseball team this year, and I loved it. And I was nervous before the games, and I was and my wife couldn't figure out why I was so stressed out about it. And I would coach, and then she saw me come alive and coach these kids, right? And then I step back after the season and go, why did I love it so much? Well, there's competition. There's you stress. You want to perform. There's winning and losing. That's immediate. There's preparation. There's an environment. All of the things that I loved about being a championship basketball coach. I actually was able to get coaching 5-year-old kids baseball.
Mm.
Okay. Then I came back and go, what was it that I loved about it? See, now I'm circling back and I'm going, those were the things I loved about it. Now, how do I replicate that in business? Real in competition, real-time results, right? Use stress, excitement, energy. What is it that would make me come alive like that we could go make $20 million doing, okay? Versus just a 5-year-old baseball game that was for fun. That was an application. That was for me to spend more time with my son, you know?
So so cool. I love the fact that you're drawing from regular life, the things that we live, and you're saying, no, this is an indicator of the things that you were made to do, and specifically you were made to do. I want to ask you, Coach Burt, and then we'll land this plane. But I would be neglectful if I didn't bring in some of the prey drive opportunities, because I think like desire in pain, like you actually give us a few other things that it's like, nope, this might activate you and this might activate you, for us like to even get that spark that could create a flame. Like what would you say are some of the top activators in prey drive that you see out there?
Well, I think when you think about prey drive, which is your instinctual ability to pursue something, this drive is deep within you. It's primal. It has to be activated daily. It could be activated by fear. It could be activated by competition. It could be activated by exposure to something. Like when I'm around big time people, I want to do bigger things. It could be activated by environments, which is why I build greatness factories, because these are the ultimate aspirational environments. When you come there, you expect to be great. It's positive expectancy. And then it could be activated by embarrassment. Now, let me throw one in here that I didn't write about in the book. I used to think passion came from emotion, right? Like Donnie's got a lot of passion and he created there's some emotion behind it somewhere. Real passion, real prey drive comes from conflict. It's when you have really been screwed over. You
Oh.
feel like there's a real injustice. Someone has really challenged you personally. Somebody has discounted your skill set. Somebody's making fun of you. Somebody has wronged you. And you use this and go, game on. Thank you. I owe you, because I am finding a new gear that I didn't have. See, COVID during that period, I actually began to see that as an enemy
Mm.
in my brain, because it was costing me. I'm like, I'm going to lose everything I've worked 20 years to build. It became an enemy to me. And then when I had an enemy, Donnie, that tapped into my deep primal competition. And I'm like, I'm not losing. I will find a way to win. So when somebody challenges you, discounts you, rejects you, this is actually where the greatest fuel is in the world. It's actually the greatest prey drive activator and it happens silently. It happens, Donnie, because somebody slights you. Like I'll do deals with people or interact with people, maybe other influencers, and maybe I can tell that there's something about me that they don't like, or I could tell that they discount my skill set. And I'm like, okay, discount my skill set. Then let me go to work. And then as Cal Newport says, be so good they can't ignore you, right? Then you come back and go, where they got to go, man, that dude is skilled, okay? I didn't want to admit it, but he's skilled. It's like I'm looking for things that will activate my prey drive, right? I'll be 50 this year, and I've been coaching for 37 years, and I am constantly looking for a game to play, a fight
Mm,
to, a
mm.
competitor, a something that would flip it and go, let's go, game's on.
I love it. And by the way, leaders are listening to this. Like I am like just grabbing, right? It's like one of the greatest teachers isn't always it's not always a pleasure, right? It is having an enemy. And I think conflict, you know what it does? At least it removes the scramble and creates clarity. Like there's only one way to punch when the person or the thing is in front of you. And it's what a great clarifier. Coach Burt, we're gonna say thank you for being with us and activating us. And I want to give you an on the way out opportunity. First off, find Coach Burt, find his new book, screwyourwhy.com. Find him all over the place. Just look up Coach Michael Burt. But and you can tell us if there's anywhere else you want us to reach you as well. I want to know, like, if there was, I'm just imagining maybe a leader that is deer in the headlights right now. He's been coasting. If he were to admit it, he's been coasting because things were decent and all of a sudden the world has changed.
Yep.
And he's not sure if he can remix, reacclimate, reactivate. He knows he's been maybe a little bit neglectful with if he's being truthfully honest with himself, he knows that there's something that he hasn't really been pushing and pursuing. What would you say to him to activate him to begin to step again with passion and with purpose and with clarity?
He needs to understand that satisfied needs never motivate, only unsatisfied needs. He needs to understand he needs a new game to play. He needs to change an environment. He needs to go get around somebody who's playing at a high level. He needs to be exposed to the best people in the world. He needs to go somewhere, and he needs to think about personal transformation of himself. And that could be physical transformation, mental transformation, emotional transformation. Like if you watch the people I coach, many of them not only transform one area of their life, they transform all areas of their life. And this is important because when you transform the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit, you become a new person. You can reinvent yourself. You study some of the greatest artists, athletes, entertainers. Jordan went and got Tim Grover because he said, I'm not tough enough to beat the Pistons. I need to get stronger and bigger. You see it happen. I live in Nashville where country music artists come to Nashville and they completely transform their look and their sound and their music, and they become big stars. So sometimes in life we need to reinvent. And person that's stuck, bored, complacent, in a rut, they are gradually settling to a place of mediocrity. And they need to be challenged by somebody. Get a coach, be in a program, go to a conference, be around somebody great. That's what they need to do. They need to take an action versus sitting there.
I love it. Coach Burt, thank you for bringing the thunder today with us, my friend. I can't wait to see you out there. Can't wait to see you at the Greatness Factory. I will find a way to get there from Florida to Tennessee and come and see you. But thank you again for your generosity in digging deep and just giving us from the wellspring of your knowledge, my friend.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. You do a great job interviewing people.